This is one of Dangbei's more affordable models. It's called the N2. It's Netflix certified, 1080p, 400 ISO lumens, and it does have auto keystone correction, autofocus, and it can even resize the screen if there's any objects in the way. The UI is Linux based and it's quite quick. It has built-in speakers, Dolby Audio, 6 watts each, both of them. I'll be giving you a sample of those speakers. I'll show you the image quality, what you can expect. I'll talk a little bit about my experience with it, and all you need to know really about the Dangbei N2. So this is what is included with the N2. We have our power supply, Hunt key, known brand, 120 watts, the power supply cable. There's a support card right here, user manual, our remote, and they do include 2 AAA batteries for that remote. And the stand that is included in the box, so this is where you mount it in, you screw that into the bottom of it, and this does give us then a 110-degree maximum angle that we can use to point the projector upwards. I've covered before projectors that look very similar to this one, the same kind of feature set to it as well. So we do have 1080p, so full HD, maximum brightness is 400 ISO lumens, 30 hours of lifespan from this too as well, which is good, and it is LCD, so this is not a laser projector. It does support HDR10, contrast ratio is 2000:1, and then the built-in speakers, I'll give you a sample of them later on, but they are Dolby Audio speakers. There's 2 of them, they are 6 watts each. Now there is a little camera here that you can see, and this is used in conjunction with obviously the projection there. So we've got our autofocus, auto keystone, fit screen, and obstacle avoidance that I talked about in the intro. So those 2 speakers are located here and here, either side, coming out the back of the projection, which makes sense because you'd normally be sitting behind it. I can see some cooling vents in here, so it is actively cooled, of course, projectors always are, and I'll give you a fan noise sample too later in the video. So we get 2 USB 2 ports here, so they do support external files, and we have an HDMI in, so you could use, say, an Amazon Fire Stick in this, your gaming consoles and whatnot, anything that you can plug into that. 3.5mm audio jack, and then our DC in there for the power. The underside, there are 4 solid rubber feet here. The mounting point there for that stand that I showed you, and you can use your own ceiling mount or another stand, and there's even a little kickstand here at the front just to prop it up a little. Finally, along the top here, we have the Dangbei branding, power on with a status LED. So this is an ALR screen that I'm using for my setup. If you've seen my other projector reviews, this is what I like to go with. It gives the best possible image quality. Now note that this is one of the downsides to this projector, that you need to have a very long room or quite a wide room, because I'm currently projecting at 60 inches, and you'll see that this is where the projector, I currently do have it just in front here. Now if you want 120 inches, you're going to need to have the projector away from the screen 3.2 meters. So that's a lot. That's just over 10 feet. And I'm currently projecting at the 60 inches. That's 5.5 feet. And that's 1.7 meters, the distance I had the projector away from my ALR screen. So this does not use Google TV or Android TV. No, it's its own operating system it's using, and I believe this is based off Linux. I have seen it before with other brands, and what it does give us is good performance. However, we don't have things like Google Assistant and a little bit of a limit with the applications. Now, they do have their own app store, which I'm just loading up now. We'll see how fast that is. It doesn't take too long to load in, and you can see that there are a few apps in there that you may be after. So you can go up to the categories at the top, and there is a lot you can go through, but this is not Google Play Store. You're not going to have that same level of access to all those different applications at all. All right, it's just told me there's a software update. So I'll do that before I get onto the image test, of course. But I want to show you here just a few other things. So for settings with our picture mode, there are some options. I'm in the standard at the moment, and the brightness is by default. Now, setting this to high performance, I haven't really noticed that much of a difference. All I hear is the fan noise go up. So that's why I'm going to keep it on default. In fact, I can see a very minor increase in the brightness, but it is certainly not worth it for the fan noise you're going to get out of it just to gain an extra maybe 20 ISO lumens out of this. So projection, you can set it up to be frontwards facing on like a table. You can have it inverted upside down front projection, and it allows you then to have ceiling mount and whatnot. You can change that. The network, that's obvious, Bluetooth, obvious, focus. So you have the autofocus, which does work well, auto keystone correction too, that I currently have at the moment. That's done its job. And you can manually go and correct this yourself if you decide that, I don't think it's done an absolute perfect job of the focus. Maybe then you can just fine tune it here. And I think I can get it slightly better maybe than the autofocus with that front little camera that it does have. And you got the advanced mode here. So you can just select options to have it do its thing on motion and when it starts up. And the same settings apply then for the keystone. You got the auto, the manual, and screen fit, and it does have the object avoidance too that it can do. So if there's something that's in the way, it'll resize for that, which is a very handy feature to have. So pretty self-explanatory. The last one is the audio. So you can adjust the treble and the bass there, surround sound mode, and the sound mode, which is basically a graphic equalizer. So all very straightforward, the kind of settings you'd expect to see out of this. And I do like the fact that with the picture mode, you can go to custom, you can adjust the contrast, saturation, hue even, and even sharpen it up a little bit if you wanted to. So all good having all of those, and the menu system is fast. So I'll apply that update, and then we'll take a look at the image quality, the big important one here, of course. So for this, I've gone into, just to start out with Dungeons and Dragons. Now you see that it's showing HD as our top quality here for this movie. Now, is it because that's all it's capable of? The projector is only HD with Netflix. It's supposed to be full HD, and it is licensed and certified, but still showing only HD, which is 720p, not the full 1080p that we do want. So I'll find something that I know that is definitely in 4K that I've been watching before, and that would be Vikings. There it is. Okay, and by the way, the menu performance is very good. Everything does load in quick. Cache is quick. So selecting that, we'll resume here, number 2, and it's still showing that it's only HD, the quality. So we'll see how long it takes to cache in. I have not played this sample before, and for obvious copyright reasons, I will just give you a short clip of this. Right, it does look good. It's looking sharp enough, but I think that, yes, this looks like it's only HD, and it does not seem to be, don't believe that's full HD, so that'll just be upscaling that from HD. As you can see, that's all Netflix is telling me that it's going to project at, which I happen to believe. There's no reason for them to say that this should be full HD when it isn't. Now, HDR support is there. That is going to work. And the blacks, because it's not a laser, I'm not seeing any speckle here. This is LCD, and typical LCD quality that I find the whites, at least so far that I have seen, are looking good. But I'll show you some more sample images with it. This sample clip from Jacob and Katie Swartz is looking very good. Now, it's not the best, I'll admit, that I have seen out of this. And I think factoring in the price point of this being around $400 US, LCD, the image quality that I'm getting is as expected. It's nothing exceptional. It does the job. I think it is looking pretty good. The colors I do like. I think the colors, contrast is all right. The blacks, of course, with LCD and a projector on top of it aren't super dark at all. But look at this image we're getting. I think it is an acceptable, even an above average quality, I would say, with this. Now, the smoothness of it all is good. I'm not seeing any noticeable lag with any of this at 4K 60. Now, it's not obviously being projected at 4K 60 because this is 1080p maximum. And this green here looks especially good. The details in that, great. Oh, sorry about the big spider there if you're not into them. And just quickly skip ahead with this bit. Oh, and a snake as well. But the image quality, I think is good. No color fringing that I'm seeing here that I notice. No. So it's not an outstanding image quality, but I think it's good. For the price point, it is above average. And really, the only thing I've noticed that when you have a continual, even dark color, you may see the edges being slightly brighter. That really is about it. It's the only thing I can criticize about it, and the fact that if you want to get the 120 image size inches, you have to have this projector basically on the other side of the room. You have to have it quite a distance away. Back on YouTube now, and I want to have a look at the image quality if it was daylight, right? So we've got a lot of sunshine coming in now. You can see with this advert for YouTube that it's not looking very good, is it? It makes the screen a lot harder to see. Now, I can certainly make out what is on there. I can see that that's clearly an advert. Let's skip that And here I am with a camera comparison. So you can make it out. You can see what's on screen. It's just now not an amazing experience. This is looking a bit washed out because the projector is having to compete, of course, now with a very bright, this is about 120 watts light that's shining onto this ALR screen. Now the ALR screen is certainly helping this image quality. Light off again and you can see, there we go, we are back to normal. Now looking good, a respectable image quality. So you definitely want to use this projector in a room that is very dark. You don't want any ambient light or some sort of open window or something above or near the projector screen where you're going to be projecting. That's definitely a no-go. You don't want to be doing that. It has to be really in a pitch black room, this projector. Looking at our keystone correction now, which I've set to auto and the autofocus. So I'm going to move the image about a lot here. So imagine I'm moving this projector to another room. The splash screen will come up. It's going to use that time of flight camera at the front and get its focus first. All right, so it's locked on the focus. That's taken a few seconds. Now the auto keystone correction. That has done a good job. That's looking very level. Looks quite good. And there we go. So it's not super quick. It did take a little while, but it has done a good job of getting that focus pretty much spot on this time. And the keystone does look really good. For speakers, we've got those two Dolby Audio rear firing speakers, so 6 watts each, and they sound all right. I'll give you a sample of them now. I think they're not bad for built-in speakers at all. As for fan noise, well, it is always there. This is a constant RPM in the fan, and if you put it into the performance brightness mode, which is only a fraction brighter, don't recommend it by the way, then we'll get a little loud, but I'm going to just leave it in the default setting, and you'll hear from the sample that it's okay. The fan noise, it's not an irritating sound, but if you sit next to it, you will hear it. It's constant, it's there, but it's not the worst I've heard. And a very quick final gaming test. It would not be one of my projector reviews without this, and we'll see how that input lag, the latency is going to be with our Dangbei N2. So this is perfectly fine for just some casual gaming on the side. The input lag here, the response time, it's fine. It's nothing class leading. There does not seem to be a low latency gaming mode that I can find in the settings or anything like that for this. And the PlayStation 5 did not detect this as being a HDR compatible display when I plugged it in, which they normally do, although Netflix did say it was HDR compatible. So something to do with the HDMI input doesn't seem to allow for HDR with it. So image quality is above average. We have an autofocus, auto keystone correction that at times can be a little slow, but it does work really well. The built-in speakers are fine, those are good, and the menu, the UI and everything is very fast and fluid. In fact, it felt faster to me. More faster than Google TV or Android TV, which is basically the same thing. They just renamed it there. Now for $400 US, I think it's pretty fair the price for the image quality you are gaining and getting from this. However, with my experiences here that I showed you, I did not get HDR support with the HDMI port with the PlayStation 5 that normally detects it being HDR compatible, any projector or screen it's using, but I didn't have that option at all for some reason. And Netflix is in HD. Another thing to point out is that you do need quite a long or wide room to be able to get that 120 inches as I pointed out. So that is the full story there of the Dangbei N2.